Look, they keep on saying nothing about us without us. The problem is that the typical or temporary abled bodies and things like debate are always without us, which is why we should not be forced to love them. We should accept that they hate us. Yes, we can take advantage of these structures. Yes, we can still use our caregivers, but that does not mean that we should be held to the standard of saying, I love you, I appreciate you, and absolutely will always do anything undying for you, because debate will always have microaggressions. Debate will create people with PTSD, and then say, get out of the community. Debate will do things like say that we're trying to have intersections for all, that we're trying to make things accessible, but really people are just afraid of going too fast, and when they slow down, they then make arguments about how all the rest of what we say is irrelevant because, hey, they slowed down for us, therefore debate's all accessible. The problem is that cryptness itself is in opposition to civil society, that any attempts at incorporation are always already predicated on normalization, that the incorporation of saying disability can be added into is always already becoming people with disabilities rather than crips, rather than disabled people, or it's something that emphasizes the ability to be normal, the ability to be just like any other issue, rather than something that is its own phenomenological and ontological experience. Our argument is that you don't actually disrupt institutions. The 1AR is very defensive and just tries to spin out of links, but I'm not sure how they actually materially reform and change debate other than educating people. However, this education is always about liberal inclusion, that you need to be educated because you will become disabled too, or that you have disabled people in your life that you need to care for better, rather than the fact that we just need to stop beating up and killing disabled people, the status quo. They keep on saying debate is good. That might be fine. Debate can be good. However, we also need to acknowledge the problems that debate has, that debate literally can make us hate ourselves when we don't live up to the intelligence standards, that these things are always problems with debate, that people always have microaggressions. Yes, it's okay to radically call these things out, but to just say that there's a future in which these things don't happen is naive at best, which is all the app is. They keep on saying that, look, we can overcome these things and radically transform, but I don't understand how these transformations happen, which is why embracing cripness, the negativity of accepting that they hate us, that disability always is the abject, is preferable to this. Look, if there's any link differential, that the app has too much love for the people that are abused, or sort of, that they are just simply trying to educate people because, hey, disability affects everyone. It does not actually get to the ontological specificity that cripness does, that we need to create consciousness with other people, that we need to quit tiring ourselves out and trying to educate everyone, because we can't. That we need to be like Eric Landing, turning away from educating people. He recently said that he's done voting for or judging PASS, and that if people should run that, they should strike him. That is an example of cripness. That's refusing to engage with institutions like in debate in a normative way. Yes, it still engages in them, but it's on our terms and ways that we want to force it, rather than always on the academy, which is what self-reflexivity that they describe is about it, making people be like, oh, hey, we need to be self-reflexive and think about these things, rather than radically grappling with all these arguments. Look, hinging the debate on their Wilson evidence, but it literally uses the language of incorporating disability into curriculums, rather than radically transforming them in a way that does not exclude them in the first place. It also talks about diversity issues in this piece of evidence, which indicates that it's just another litany amongst diverse identities, which always makes things worse. They try to make an argument that debate is getting better. However, that's only in some specific ways. This always comes with trade-offs. There was an argument made in the 2NC that when people slow down, they then make arguments about it, or they take out the offensive ones, which means that we don't get to win. I might be more aware of disability issues in debate than I was 2 years ago, but I also feel a lot less safe in debate by talking about these things. I don't know how people are going to read my stems. I don't know how people are going to be able to relate to me. Do people realize that I care about them, especially the people that are nice to me, despite the fact that I don't always have the energy to interact with them? No, debate still holds us up to all of these arbitrary standards that are still trying to make us work on these things, and they are... Look, our Fritsch 13, or whatever the date is, evidence is very specific on this question, that the language of incorporating, which is a large part of the 1AC, if there's any doubt in this, look back to those questions, that they advocate for access, they incorporate disability as well as other issues, means that it always just gets propped up as a way that neoliberalism says, look how we can just work these things out, look how debate makes everything magnificent, we can all just come together by the inclusion of new identities, and all the while leaving out people, the others. Look at people in the institution. Look at people that are nonverbal. How do they ever have access to debate? The notion that debate is this perfect space for everyone ignores the violence that often happens here. Yes, we can still continue to participate. Chris and I hopefully won't leave debate, but sometimes I want to, because the way that debate makes me feel only accepting that debate itself hates us and that I shouldn't be forced to love debate at all times or love all of the people in debate is the preferable strategy because I don't want to love my abusers. I don't want to love the people that make me feel like shit. I might appreciate them or like their feedback. That does not mean that I am forced to love them or nor have them be my caretakers. When I specifically have that choice, and
Did you go to the Richter evidence?
Oh, they keep on making arguments about the Richter evidence. This specific piece of evidence is about disrupting ableist assimilation, not ableist assumptions, which means that unless they are fundamentally critiquing the process by which disabled debaters become tools for saying, look at how inclusive we are, look at how other teams are doing so great, and look at these examples for disability debaters, can they ever be resisted as well? They don't do enough work in the homo-nationalism argument that we always prop up specific identities while allowing violence to be done to others. What have we done specifically as disabled debaters to affect things like race or to affect other issues like gender, especially for disabled women? We say, look how inclusive we are for our access, all the while violence gets to be perpetuated more and more against others. Which is the perm argument. As well as, look, all of their hopefulness arguments are naive. We don't say that we shouldn't stop trying, but rather to simply say that there was a world without these things is naive and best and not hopeful. It only creates more damage as we fail to live up to these things and we blame ourselves.
3, 4.